Hey guys, it's Aru here. Today I'm going to be making a Succession Sorc guide for my playstyle. So let's start off with Sorc's self buffs, just as general information. You have the Q buff, which gives you 30 AP if you consume 30 shards. So if you have 40 right here, it'll only consume 30 and you'll get the 30 AP buff. And this will basically stay on permanently. You also don't need to cast a skill, as certain skills actually proc this. So right here you get 10 AP. If you use another skill, it goes up a level. So eventually you'll end up at 30 AP, so it's not necessary to consume. Next skill is Midnight Stinger. You get 40 crit rate for 10 seconds. Then you have Claws of Darkness for 15% cast speed. And lastly, it's not really a buff, but I'm going to include it anyway. So let's say you're down to 0 shards, right? And if you press this skill, this is a hotbar only skill, so you're gonna have to put it on your hotbar. The second you use the skill, you get 40 shards back immediately. Now, Sorc is a very complicated class because there's so many flows that it can do. It's kind of ridiculous. So for this skill, Violation, you can use this skill after Black Wave, Claws of Darkness, Rushing Crow, Bloody Calamity, Dream of Doom, Shadow Eruption, Engulfing Shadow, Shadow Ignition, only after the second part of the animation, after an iframe, and after Dark Flame, just the first part. Next up we have Turnback Slash. This one only has 2, Midnight Stinger and Crow Flare. Oh, and I forgot, after a jump iframe, you can also cast it with just C. Alright, next up is Bloody Calamity. There's also quite a few skills for this one. Shadow Eruption, Midnight Stinger, Rushing Crow, Ultimate Dark Flame, Crow Flare, Turnback Slash, and Violation. All those, you can cast this after all those skills. And next we have Ultimate Shadow Eruption. You can cast a skill after Ultimate Dark Flame, Black Wave, Crow Flare, and Claws of Darkness. Another flow skill is Shadow Hellfire. This one can be done after Midnight Stinger, Engulfing Shadow, and Dream of Doom. Also, Prime Abyssal Flame has kind of an animation cancel. After Turnback Slash, it does the full cast. Also, after an iframe in any direction, it will do the full cast. Just like that. Alright, here are the skill add-ons I use. I mean, this is basically universal. I almost never change these. Are they perfect? Probably not. It works for me, so I don't really find a need to fix these. And yeah. Now for skills I lock Absolute Darkness, I lock Beak Kick, I lock Marcus Shadow, Bloody Contract, Absolute Shadow Kick, and Storming Crow as the skills that I lock, and obviously Evasion, but that's like every class. So alright, so let's get into the actual combo. This combo is a 2-part combo, meaning you can do either part beginning to end in any order. So you can do part 2 as part 1, it doesn't matter. And this is an infinite combo with Bloody Calamity and Imminent Doom in mind to be casted at any moment, because those are your big damage skills, so you want to use those anytime they're off cooldown. So I usually like to start with part 1, which is Midnight Stinger, Claws of Darkness, Ultimate Shadow Eruption, Darkness Released, Crow Flare, Turnback Slash, Abyssal Flame, Black Wave Tendrils. And this combo is usually enough for you to finish waiting for mobs to group up, and then you can do part 2, which is the nuke combo. It's going to be Stinger, Shadow Eruption, Engulfing Shadow, Shadow Hellfire, Shadow Ignition. Now, this part can technically be ignored if you're doing part 2 as the first cast, but if you're doing this as a second cast, you will need to cast those bombs for part 1 to be off cooldown. So yeah, if you're doing it as part 1 after Shadow Eruption, you can go straight into Violation. If not, you will go into Violation after Shadow Ignition, and then Dark Flame, Ultimate Dark Flame, Dream of Doom, Crow Flare, Bloody Calamity. After that, you just repeat. So I'm going to demonstrate the combo right here. All right, so you get the idea. This loop is kind of like 8 seconds, 8.5 seconds, because you may have noticed that Ultimate Shadow Eruption gives issues. Sometimes it's off cooldown and sometimes it's on cooldown. So this one, honestly, if you need to loop this loop that many times, I just like to put Ultimate Shadow Eruption wherever it fits. You could just cast Crow Flare and cast that real quick, and then continue with the combo where you left off. So yeah. And lastly, I guess let's cover some movement. There isn't much on Sorc. Your big movement is just going to be jumping and iframing. This got buffed recently, so it covers some nice distance. But you also have Rushing Crow, and then I like to do WW after this, because if you try to jump right after that skill, you'll cast Bloody Calamity instead, which is not ideal. So yeah, you do that, and then you go back into jumping and iframing. So you would do like Stinger, and yeah, just like that. And you can also do like this Violation Jump. Yeah, but like majority of your movement revolves around jumping and iframing. So that's the only downside of Suck Sorc. The movement is kind of terrible, but it's better than it was. So I can't complain. I mean, it's much better than it was. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.